Hey everyone, it's Ariel Helwani. Hope you're doing well. It's a great pleasure to be joined right now by the former UFC middleweight champion, still one of the best fighters on the planet, a man that I've wanted to talk to for quite some time now. You know him. He is the one and only Robert Whittaker, and he's kind enough to join us today. Thank you so much for doing this, Rob. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it, mate. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Yes, and I don't feel like I have to apologize like usual. Usually, you come on my show and it's like 6:30 a.m. in Sydney. Now it's a little later in the day, so I still appreciate you doing this in the morning, but I don't feel as guilty. My guilt isn't kicking in as much, if you know what I'm saying.
That's that's good. These are good hours. These are good
Yes.
hours.
Yes, and it's not good to feel guilty, especially these times. By the way, I was just reading an article, and correct me if I'm wrong, saying how New Zealand and Australia have been dealing with this pandemic better than most countries, and how the numbers are going down drastically every day. Just curious, I don't get a chance to talk to people living in Australia every single day. What is it like across the world right now with this whole pandemic?
Yeah, it is certainly crazy. It is crazy across the world, and I feel for a lot of countries, even here in Australia. I do agree that we've done things. I think we've done things a lot better. We have jumped on things a lot earlier than a lot of other countries, and because of that, as a result, the numbers have been dropping. So everyone's been keeping to themselves, putting in a lot of rules. A lot of small businesses and gyms have had to close and stuff. And I feel for that, especially someone who owns a gym like myself. I feel it. But yeah, it's just one of those things you just have to ride out. And I hope everybody's just following the rules so that we can get through this period and just move on.
Yeah, certainly hope so as well. And it was great to see that. I mean, just to see the kind of leadership that you guys have had. So I'm happy for our friends over in Australia and New Zealand. Now, of course, you have been in the news. You spoke recently to the Daily Telegraph about why you took some time off, and there were so
Mm,
many rumors and stories regarding this. And so I actually
yeah.
want to start several months prior, because a month or so after your fight against Israel Adesanya, you came on my show and we talked about the fight, and you appeared to be in good spirits and whatnot. Were you just masking how you were feeling? Were you hurting a lot more inside than
Hold
you
on.
were letting on, or did this kind
Did,
of
did
affect you
did you say
afterward?
before the fight or after the fight?
Right after the fight, like a month or
Um,
so after the fight, you came on the show and you were very open and honest about the fight itself and about moving on and getting back on the
mm.
horse. So I'm just curious, how were you truly feeling in that moment, a month or so after the fight?
No, no, that's exactly how I felt about the fight. Okay, the fight is what it is, and that's how I felt about it. I went in there, I did my best, and I come up short, and it happens. And my mentality for getting back on the horse and moving forward after that was the same. I was very. I know that the only thing to do is to move forward. You got to get back on. It's just I had to tweak some things in the process leading up. In the process leading up to getting back on the horse, if that makes sense. So I just had to take some time aside. I had to take some time off. I had to have a holiday, like a proper rest, a proper just take the idea of fighting out of my head and just spend time with my family, unwind, let that fire be relit, that hunger, and that's exactly what I did.
What happened to you on Christmas Day?
Um, like I think the paper really made the whole thing very dramatic. Even when I
Ah,
was reading it, I was shedding a tear. I was like, "Oh, this guy," you know. But yeah, everybody's been there. You just reach a point where you get tired, and you don't have that thing in there that makes you take that one extra step. And I know what that is. I think all good fighters know what that is. And I had to have a look at I had to just take a step back. I had to look at everything I'm doing, and there was a crossroads, if you would, like if this is what I wanted to do. Did I lose the spark for fighting, or is there another reason? And after having a holiday and just unwinding and relaxing and playing tons of video games, spending tons of time with my kids, I realized it wasn't a lack of the fight. It was just I just needed to change a couple of things.
so the story that was written was that you were running these dunes. You work out 7 days a week. You've been doing this for years, multiple sessions a day. It's
Yeah,
Christmas Day, and all of a sudden you say to yourself, "What am I doing here? I should be with my family. I need to take a break. I need to tell my team that we're putting everything on pause until I stop feeling this way. That I don't feel this burnt out feeling." Is that not
exactly.
accurate?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. All those thoughts are going through my head, and I was just feeling burnt out. I was feeling burnt out, and when you're feeling burnt out or run down or anything else, you wanted to spend time with those who care the most about you, which is my family. So um, I told the team, which I love. I told my coaches, I just need to take a step back. I need to spend some time with my family, and I'll be back when I'm back. And that's the big thing, honestly, though, because not giving yourself a date to come back, or giving yourself a mandatory requirement to come back. That's the load that got taken off when I did that, because I didn't know if I would come back. So I was able to free that mind space up to truly try and think about what it is I wanted to do.
So it's interesting because I remember reporting the news that you were not going to fight in March against Jared Cannonier the week of the Mayweather, excuse me, the McGregor Cerrone fight, and I was told it was due to personal reasons, your
Yeah,
withdrawal. So once you hear personal reasons, people start to
yeah,
think, okay, what's going on? It's not an injury, but it's personal reasons. Everything okay? Whatnot? And then Dana White gets very emotional talking about you and says some really nice things about you, and people start to wonder. And then there's this story that you had to help your child who needed a bone marrow replacement, and there's all
yeah.
kinds of stuff, and fighters are talking about, how did this happen? How did it turn into this whole thing?
Like anything else, honestly, like anything else with the media, it's one person says something and it just gets blown out of proportion. Um, that's the media. That's what it is, and also that's what it is with people and speculations and rumors. That's how crazy it can be blown out of proportion. Um, like I had the utmost support from the UFC and Dana White. They understood. They knew what was going on. Um, they they've always been great. I had a lot of support from them, so they made everything really easy, so that I could really just take that step back, take that time, and then start to feel really good, start to feel great, start to feel hungry, and then I went back to the team, started speaking to them. We've been speaking, and we've been hustling again, and then the world shut down.
And so just to be clear, your kids are okay. No one needed any kind of
Every
surgery, replacement, anything like that.
no, everyone is good. Everyone is good.
So when this all happened, when this was coming out, why didn't you refute any of it, or at least clear up like, hey, my family's okay. I just need some time for myself, because it lasted several weeks where people thought that one of your children were really sick.
So when I went on break, I went off all socials. I went off everything. So I went under the radar properly. It wasn't. I didn't find out about the weird rumors until my mother-in-law saw it on the news. Like, it was just going everywhere, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy! What's going on?" And then I jumped on it, and it just things were going everywhere. I had 100 messages, so I did put that. I put that post up like, "Don't believe in the rumors.
Hmm.
Like, we're good." Uh, and then went back off it, because I don't want to. You can't have a break with one foot in still. That's not how it works, And if just like I couldn't have had a break if I was still training, if I was still like in the gym hustling. Like it doesn't work that way. I wasn't like a soul searching holiday break time out. So I had to. That had all my focus at that time.
Just curious, how hard is it to cut off from social media cold turkey like that?
For me personally, not really. Like, I don't know. I'm a very quiet guy anyway, so yeah, I live under a rock, I guess. If you heard that saying, I it's not too bad. It's not too bad to be off social media. I mean, yeah, I don't find it that hard.
You have also talked about, mental health and depression and whatnot. Do you think that that is connected to the feeling that you felt late last year?
um, I don't think. I don't think. I, I was feeling depressed when this happened at all. I think definitely think that that burnt out feeling was bringing me down, though.
Hmm.
Which made different correlations start to happen, and you know, um, thinking different things might be what they are.
Wh-
It's being burnt out is terrible.
What does it feel like?
been burnt out?
Yeah.
You've never been burnt out before? Like, you've never woken up and gone, man, there is nothing I want to do more than not go to work today.
I have felt that, but I wanted to know what it felt like for you because this is why I'm so curious about your story because I've felt that I think multiple times,
Yeah.
and I've felt highs and lows as well. But I'm curious if what you feel is what I feel, and you're feeling it for something different because you go through such a strenuous physical activity each and every day. So I'm curious what it feels like for
Yep.
you.
Yeah, and honestly though, I don't think it's any different to how I feel, to how you feel, to how anybody else's feels. There are days we wake up when we're like, oh man, I don't want to go to work, but you put your shoes on and you go. And then there are days when you get up and you're like, I want to call in sick saying I have to go to hospital because I don't want to go to work.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And and there is nothing you can do to make yourself happier going to work. And that's when you need to really have a sit down and see what it is that's making you feel that way, because a lot of people misdiagnose this stuff as well. Like, and I'm no expert in it before I start spouting off on this stuff, but you can't you can't be you can't just jump to the conclusion that I'm burnt out and that I've been hustling or working too hard, because if you're not making sure you're sleeping well, eating right, doing everything else you're supposed to do, right?
Hmm.
But I was ticking all those boxes, and I was just not enjoying the process at the time. So I had to take a step back, look at what was going on, find the reason. I found the reason, found the answer, came back, spoke to my team. We mixed some stuff up, and honestly, me and the guys, the team, we've never been happier. We're on cloud nine right now. We got everything great just in time for the world to stop.
What was the reason?
For my break, I just needed to change things up, because like, not change things up in terms of like teams or anything, because I love my team and we stick together through thick and thin. We need to change things up in the team. So like, we need to just change a couple sessions around. I need to change a couple sessions for me. I needed to add into it, and and in doing that, it just made like a night and day sort of difference.
So you didn't change personnel, you didn't change management or coaches. You're just talking about tweaking schedules and regimen and
Yeah,
whatnot.
just tweaking schedules, because it's funny, it's like if you go to work at 6 a.m. every day opposed to going to work at 8 a.m. every day. You get that sleep in, if you would. It's like doing a show at 9 a.m. rather than 6:30.
Mhm.
There's just so much more to give.
Right, right, right. I hear you. So that was it. And so when you say that you needed to search for that, you found it. How like so this started according to what I read, correct me if I'm wrong, Christmas Day. How long does it take for you to say, "All right, we're back. I got it. I'm feeling good again."
Mid-February, I jumped back in, and me and the team were back at training. We were working. We were hitting everything we needed to hit. I was feeling good. I was shedding some of that Christmas weight I put on from not training, and then I think early March, everything said, "Hold on, there's a
Right.
pandemic going around."
So around 2 months or so, right? If you say like mid-February, did you just not go to the gym? Did you not hit any pads, nothing?
Honestly, I the way it worked, I didn't go to the gym at all. For one, um, I made sure I stopped myself from doing that, and I just trained because I wanted to train, which
Mhm.
is very different to training because you have to. Um, yeah, if I like, I just woke up, spent time, had breakfast with my family. If I felt like doing weights, I'd go in and have a lift. Otherwise, and it was weird because no schedules, no alarms, no nothing. It was honestly, it's a I recommend it to anyone that can take the time off.
When's the last time you think you had 2 months off like that? And you were healthy, like, not, rehabbing an
With
injury or something?
Yeah, without a fight in sight, without knowing I'm going back to fighting, without knowing that everything I put in my body is going to be twice as hard to get out later. Yeah, honestly, I can't remember, because I've been
Wow.
fighting since I was 18. So there's always been a fight in my head. There's always been a fight in X amount of months down the track. There's always been a fight I'm working for. So yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was a crazy feeling.
Initially, was there any concern that maybe you'll never regain that love, that maybe you were done?
Yeah, that obviously that's terrifying because this is what I do for a living. So, but I'm smart enough to know that if you don't have that, if you don't have that love, if you don't have that fire in you, you shouldn't be fighting because it's too dangerous and the toll is too high. Um, so there is definitely concern because if that love's not there and I'm not going to fight, then I'm going to have to go get another job.
Mm.
And let me tell you, my friend, I'm not very good at much else. So, yeah, so there's concerns, but after a few weeks, I quickly realized that wasn't the case.
If you win in October against Israel, do you think this happens?
Uh, I honestly, I think it would have been like putting a band-aid on a knife wound. I think it would have happened. I just think the fallout would have been bigger. I think the loss forced me to confront all of this. Whereas if I won, I think I would have just like closed my eyes and just got through it. You wait, Jack. Soon, soon,
Everything
soon.
okay?
Hmm?
Is the little man
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. He needs help with his game.
Ah,
Honestly, honestly, some of these kid games have puzzles in them that just absolutely befuddle me.
I know. Trust me, I've been lamenting. I don't know if you're doing homeschooling there in Australia. Is this school time now, or is this break time over there?
We're on a break now, but just beforehand, yeah, the
Whew.
homeschooling is crazy.
It is a grind, my friend. Much like what you do for a living, and probably even more so, what you do for a living. Now, so you say that that kind of would have put a band-aid. In hindsight, considering that there was something to put a proverbial band-aid on, was that training camp not your best? Like, were you not 100%? And please, for everyone out there, I'm not trying to get Robert to make any excuses for his performance. We've already talked about the performance. I'm not looking, because how things will get twisted. But I'm
Mm.
curious, would you look back on that training camp for that fight, the biggest fight of your career, and say, man, I just wasn't my best?
Um, and I've had a lot of like people have been talking about this a lot. Like they say, oh, before the fight you were saying you were the best ever. It's because before the fight I can't allow doubts into my head. I have to, if I'm bleeding from my leg, I have to say I'm perfect
Mm,
because I have to believe in that. Once you start letting doubts or insidious thoughts go through your head, you've already lost. You've already lost. In terms of like my physical health, that was the best I've ever been. But I think just in the way we did the lead up, just in the way like my head was, maybe not. Who knows? But it is what it is. That's I arrived on the night how I did. I felt great, and I just didn't fight very well. And I lost.
when did you really start to feel this way? Like, what? Like, I'm assuming you have been feeling ups and downs, and, "Oh, I'm tired. I don't want to do this." Do you recall the first time that you started to feel like, man, maybe a break would be nice?
I started feeling like I needed a break after the second Romero fight.
Wow. So we're talking almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then like the different things that came up in between just made it worse. So like
Yeah.
the gas limb injury and illness, and then all that on the back of it. It just got worse and worse and worse. But then also because the gas limb fight didn't come through and I got sick and everything, like the need to actually fight grew. So the
Mm,
need to fight grew, whilst the want to fight kind of like
right.
it just got hard.
I mean, the stuff since that fight alone, then the chicken pox, right? And
Mhm.
then the collapsed bowel and everything involving that, and having to pull out the day of a fight, and then of
Yeah.
course, getting back on track in the Israel fight. What you have gone through over the last 2 years, I mean, mentally, I can't imagine the stress. Also, how tough you must be to come back from all of that and to overcome all of that. But geez, Louise, are you like, when you look back at the last 2 years, is it exhausting to think about what you've had to overcome and continue to have to overcome?
Yeah, I was just the last 2 years have been busy. That's what I say. Being nice, I say it's busy because especially with the Gastelum fight, I got sick and all that, which was terrible, obviously. But I did all the prep work, the mental strain, the weigh in, the fight day, all that. I practically fought without the payout or the fight. It was
Hmm.
ridiculous. And
Hmm.
I feel for Gastelum as well because he did the same thing. Um, and it was a lot. The last couple of years have been. have been a lot, and I needed to have a stress break, a holiday.
Honestly, considering what you've been through over the last 2 years, I feel like 2 months isn't enough. I feel like you needed 6 months, 8 months. You really feel like 2 months is enough? Hey, Rob, I think you muted yourself over there. You got
Hey,
you
yes,
Yep,
I did.
no
My
problem.
bad.
No problem, no problem. You
um,
heard my question, right?
yeah, I did. So yeah, honestly, I think the whole thing is about feeling that hunger. It's about feeling the drive. That's a good word to use. It's the drive, feeling that drive, getting that drive back. And I put no dates on when to come back, but as soon as I start feeling that drive again, as soon as I started feeling the drive again, I knew I had to do something about it because it was just there. It was eating at me.
Mm. Sometimes I like to ask fighters as accomplished as yourself, like, when were you your happiest in your fighting career? Like, what was that moment that made you the happiest? And usually, it it is a moment where they won the belt or defended the belt, things like that. That's the peak. But for you, the belt brought all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Injury and bad luck and whatnot. When you look back at your title reign, do you look back at it with fondness, or if I would ask you when were you your happiest, was it something way before that that had nothing to do with all this craziness?
If you ask when I was happiest, it'd be now. I'm happiest right now. I have a beautiful family. I have a beautiful life that's been built on the back of my hardships, of my grinding, of my fights, and I'm my happiest right now because I understand myself and the game uh, much more than I ever have before. The my look on previous fights and the journey here is just that it was a journey. Everyone has their hardships and they have ups and downs. I've lost before, and yeah, it's that's exactly what it is. It's a journey to get here, and here is my happiest. So it's not that bad.
While you were searching to regain that drive and that love, did you speak to anyone in particular? Is there someone who helped get you back on that track?
Certainly I was keeping in touch with the team a lot because my team only care about me. So I was speaking a lot to my coaches and to my teammates, and like we were talking back and forth, and I was speaking to my family a lot. I spoke to a friend of mine as well as a psychologist, Tim. We were talking. I was talking to him a couple times a week just to see where I was at, and it was great. You should talk if you can talk.
Sports psychologist or just a general one?
Oh, just general, just general,
Okay. And you're
just
just
general.
talking about your feelings and he's helping figure things out with you.
You more or less, it's just getting some uh, I honestly feel like I was just unloading, which is huge. Just being able to talk to someone who has no buy-in or investment or anything else is great. Being able to just unload on someone that you don't have to, see tomorrow or anything like that is it's freeing.
When you had to tell the UFC, or your team had to tell the UFC that you couldn't fight in March, was that difficult for you? It wasn't a physical injury, it was more of a mental injury. Was that hard for
Uh,
you?
certainly, certainly. It's yeah, it's very hard for me to it's hard for anyone, I think, to reach a point where they say like, "Nah, I can't do something." I don't know, especially fighters, because you know, uh, as a fighter, you never want to just say, "I can't do it." That's not why we fight. We're special creatures like that. So for me to reach that point, it was hard.
And when they were having trouble finding a replacement, was there any part of you that was like, "Huh, maybe I should jump back in here?"
Nah, nah.
No.
Is once 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 I took the boots off, they were off, and I knew that I have to do this properly. Otherwise, I'm going to be back here in 6 months. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I had to. Okay, I'm taking time out. I'm going to have time out, proper time out. So I don't have to go through this again. I probably will. Who knows? Um,
Hopefully not.
hopefully not. Hopefully it happens like when I'm 50 and I go buy a Mustang or something. um, but then funny is like Jared got injured, unfortunately. So mate, the stars aligned.
Right.
There's a reason for everything.
And then
Stuff like
shortly
that blows my mind.
thereafter, you get the Darren Till fight in August in Ireland. Did you tell like, was the arrangement with the UFC like, hey, we'll tell you when we're ready? So you called them up, or your team called them up and said we're ready, and then they offer you the Till fight?
Yeah. So like once I started feeling good and everything was moving smoothly again, I told my management. I spoke to my team first, and I said, guys, I'm good. And they're like, okay, let's get back into training. And we started training. I started moving well, better than I ever have before, because I was happy to be there. I was happy to learn, happy to be in the system again. And then they're like, you're good now, And then we let the management know, spoke to the UFC, and the fight came up, and I was like, yes, I finally get to go to Europe. It's what I
Yes.
wanted. And then Europe closed. They said, no, 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 shop's closed for now.
Right. Yeah, because I know you were initially talking about London. That didn't happen. They had you fight a week before in Las Vegas. And we were also very happy because that meant we get several more months of the Rob question mark stuff out of Darren. What do you make of this Rob question mark stuff from Darren?
I think it's great. Honestly, I think me and Darren can be mates because I don't know. He seems like my sort of cat. Um, I'm stoked. I think he's a cool guy, and I'm stoked to fight him. But it's like one of the guys like I can't wait to punch on because I feel like honestly, I feel like between me and him, punching on will make us tighter. We'll become better friends afterwards. That's just the sort of guy I feel like he is, and I think he gets it too. And then afterwards, we'll hit the beers. Hopefully, not too many, and see what happens.
You two, especially early on in this, you're back and forth with the chips and the dips and the salsa and the question. It's great banter between. Like, you do really seem like you enjoy each other and that there's no animosity there, right?
Nah, it's funny. It's funny. He gets it.
He's great
But
with the stomach.
but but he's so on it and so quick. I couldn't keep up after I did one and he came back straight. I was like, man, I can't jump into
I
this
know.
game. It's too much.
Trust me, I know. He's relentless on social
He is.
media.
He is. So I bowed out quickly.
So where do things stand with that fight? Like, what have they told you? It's in August, so we still have several months, but it doesn't look like we're trending in the right direction. What have they told you about it?
All I know is that I'm making sure that I'm as ready as I can be for that fight because if I'm ready and it doesn't happen, it's okay. If I'm not ready and it happens, I'm not okay.
Right. So you're able to train as much as possible?
Yes, I've been doing push-ups and sit-ups like till the cows come home.
But you can't go to a gym, right?
Yeah, the gyms are closed, but I'm fortunate enough. I have some areas in my house that are big enough. I have a little gym in my house. I've been hit that bench press up.
Well, I see, correct me if I'm wrong, I see you and the wife doing some grappling together. What's going on there?
Yeah, like I was feeling itchy just for a grapple. I haven't grappled in a while. I was like, hey, let's you want to grapple a little bit. She was happy to oblige, but she just scratches and bites and does all sorts of illegal shit.
She's not a fighter, right?
Nah, not at all.
Not even close.
Oh,
Uh,
it depends. I feel like she was born a fighter because certainly got fighting here, but but she's not a fighter by trade.
so at what point do you need to know whether or not this is on or off, and like whether you can seriously train for a fight? Like, what is that sort of, is there like a deadline where you need to know if this is actually happening? You can't just train
Uh,
aimlessly up until August, right?
oh, I am.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
No,
But can
yeah,
you train for a fight like this under these conditions?
yeah. Well, it is what it is. I assume he's doing the same thing. So, well, you know what? I really want to come to like some sort of agreement with Daz because I feel like he gets it that we just don't train at all. We just don't train. We do like a catch weight at like 95 and just rock up.
I
I
love
feel
that.
like, bro, I love that, and I'm sure he would love that too. We just dip and chips it up until August, and then just get in there and light it up.
I don't want to speak on his behalf, but I feel like there's one person out there that would be down for this. It's Darren Till.
Yeah, he gets it.
That so and they're saying for the international fighters, Dana keeps saying that it would be on this island. Would you be comfortable
Yes.
doing this?
I mean, yeah. Hell yes. Hell yes.
You have no problem flying to some undisclosed location and then fighting someone there on the beach and then coming back home.
No, I wouldn't come home. I'd take my family there. We just live there until they ride this one out, you know.
So is there any chance this happens before August?
Probably not. I
Okay.
don't know. It's hard to say because with the crazy times and crazy trading, I certainly don't want to accelerate the timetable.
Right. It just seems like right now, Robert Whittaker fighting in Europe is not meant to be.
Yeah, you know, maybe like the Jared fight. You know, things happen for a reason.
It's a crazy thing. Speaking of that date, before I let you go, I'm just curious because you know both Izzy and Romero so well. What did you make of that title fight? Did you watch it on the 7th of March, 8th in
Yeah,
Australia?
yeah.
It was a bizarre
I
one.
watched it.
What did you think of it?
I thought, I don't know, Izzy fought smart. He's a smart fighter. He knew what he had to do to win. It was too close for my liking. I thought it was also very boring. But then in saying that, I went out there and went really aggro and got clipped and lost. So, so you can't fault either one's game plan. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. It was a bit of a slow fight, but you know, it was clever, I guess. I
Did
don't
you
know.
think Izzy did enough to win?
Uh, I don't know. It's such a weird fight. It's such a weird fight to watch because like honestly, like neither guy looked like they really won the fight. You know, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's so hard to comment on. It's it was close. It was too close for my liking. Like it was too close. I wouldn't have been blown away if Romero got the win instead. You know,
Right.
because it was that close. But yeah, is what
And
it
you
is.
you felt Romero's power for 10 rounds. So you can understand why Izzy wouldn't just run there throwing caution to the wind, right?
100%. Romero hits
Right.
like a truck,
Yeah.
absolute truck. And anyone said like, I think Izzy fought real smart. You
Hmm.
know, he's a good fighter. He is. I think he fought real smart. He did what he had to do to win, and good on him for that. You gotta tiptoe around Romero, man. Like people don't know. People don't know.
Any hard feelings between you and Izzy at this point?
I've never had hard feelings. You
Right.
know, I guess like we're not friends.
Right.
I'm not friends with most of the world. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, we don't. He doesn't need more friends. I don't need more friends. But he's a great fighter. I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, one day we'll cross paths again. I can try and get that back. But till then, is what it is.
Till then, you're back. That's the best news of all. For anyone out there who may be feeling what you're feeling, especially during this time, I feel like mental health is a really serious issue right now. People feeling down, people feeling worried, people feeling anxious, people
Hmm.
feeling burnt out. Any words of advice, any message before we say goodbye?
Yeah, everybody, just stay indoors, stay safe. Try to keep yourself, you know, entertained, occupied. Pick up new hobbies. You know, painting, drawing, one of those, something good for your brain, reading.
Mm.
Um, you know, as well as I think everyone really needs to focus on the little things they're doing during this time. So making sure you're sleeping well, making sure you're eating well, trying to do a little bit of a workout around your house. You know, just tick the right boxes before you do anything else. You know, and if you're bored, watch me on Twitch because I'm a crack up. I'm so funny.
Wow. What is the name or the URL? I don't know. I'm not good at the Twitch stuff. I
Rob
just
Whittaker
explore.
MMA
There
on
you
Twitch.
go.
There
There
you
you go.
go.
I mean, you got the setup, so it seems like you
I
got at
do.
least part of it
With the
down.
lights going and everything right now.
Nailed it. Rob, pleasure as always, my man. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm glad to hear that you're doing okay. And honestly, I'm glad to hear that your family is doing okay as well, because that was some scary times there. And I don't want to diminish mental health at all. But when you start to hear about children, as a father myself, I was really feeling for you. So I'm glad to hear that you have overcome that. And I look forward to your return wherever and whenever it may be. And I'm going to pass this message along to Darren about the chips and dip and the catch weight and all that, and I'll see what he has to say. All right.
100%. Please do. All right, guys. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for
Rob.
having me again.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.